Well, Dr. Sturm, thanks for joining us today. Excited to chat some about your amazing success and practice. I know we actually probably met originally like 6 years ago. I think you
Yeah,
finished your fellowship down here in
I
Chattanooga.
was. I was.
Um, and since then, you went straight on to start your own practice, right?
I did. Yes.
And you
Yeah,
went back to Ames, Iowa.
we sure did. So we are located up here in Ames, Iowa. Initially, when both my husband and I were kind of looking, where do we want to end up after med school? Because he is also a physician. We had originally intended to keep moving south, and both of us are from the Midwest. He grew up in Northwest Iowa. I grew up in Minnesota. And it was one of those things where we kind of finally realized towards the end of his last year in residency that it would be really awesome to be close to home. So we started looking in Iowa. He went to undergraduate school here in Ames. He's a diehard Iowa State Cyclone fan. And it was just a really cool community that he grew up really liking. And so we started investigating the area, kind of schools, I guess, work for him, work for me, what it would look like. And we really found for him it was a perfect fit. He really enjoyed the group that he is working with. And then for me, there was no one in the area really doing any cosmetics for like an hour and a half radius. So I thought it was a great opportunity for me to grow in this area. I saw a lot of potential. Another thing that really drew me to this area is I am the first female cosmetic surgeon in Ames, Iowa, and again within like a hour radius, and that really, yeah, that really drew me in.
That's awesome. Now, so for those that aren't familiar with Ames, Iowa area, what's the population there roughly in that area?
Yeah, so it's a very unique town in that it's a college town. So when school is not in session, population is a little over 75 to 76,000. With all the college kids here, bumps it up to kind of right around over 100. And what's really, I feel like, unique about this area is it continues to grow. I know back during COVID, we saw in a lot of other places of the country, you know, the job market kind of slow and go down. And here it was staying really steady, which was, again, really awesome for my business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And not too far away, I guess next biggest city be Des Moines, right? And how far
Correct,
is
correct.
that from you?
So, depending on what area of Des Moines you're driving into, Des Moines proper is about 45 minutes to an hour. And then kind of the outer areas of Des Moines, maybe hour 15, hour and a half. I think there's about three or four well-known, male cosmetic surgeons, plastic surgeons down there. And yeah, I've been really super impressed. I feel like they were just waiting for someone up here, which was really awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And so did you say what, 5, 6 years since you opened your doors? Is that right?
5 years. So we're having our 5-year anniversary party tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's right. You guys are
Yeah.
giving away TV, right? I saw that.
Yeah, we are giving away a
Yeah.
TV.
That's awesome. That's great incentive to get people in the door. So, since opening for 5 years, you built a new facility. What was that, like
Correct.
last year, right? Just built it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me some about that because I've seen photos of it and it looks amazing.
Thank you. So in fellowship, it was, I would say, very intimidating to me to maybe open my own practice. I worked with a really incredible group in Chattanooga, Southern Surgical Arts, and they really helped, I feel like, build this foundation of what it could look like for me. I think going into med school, no one ever teaches you the business side of medicine. It's always, you come out, you join a hospital, you join a group. And I felt it was in fellowship at Southern Surgical Arts that they kind of taught you all the different aspects and nuances of owning your own practice, how to make it work. So when I left there, I felt really motivated to have my own space. I knew a challenge for me is, I mean, medical school is not cheap. And so you come out of medical school with a lot of loans. And so when you're trying to look at different avenues of how to open your own practice, having a facility with my own OR was not feasible at first. So I started really small. I started in a small little office space. It was 1,000 square feet, and kind of grew from there. I had in my mind my 5-year plan of wanting to open a facility much like I had done my fellowship in, with an OR, and be able to do all of my own procedures and treatments at my own place. I really liked the flow of it at Southern Surgical Arts. I really liked the personal aspect of it. And it was just very intriguing to me. And I would say about my 3rd year, I had an opportunity to work with some investors on creating my new space. I kind of gave them my vision and what I wanted it to look like, and here we are. And yeah, it's been really incredible. It's been really awesome. I've seen, for me anyway, the surgical side of my practice really grow. I think, the hospital is great in that it provided me a really good kind of springboard. But I was limited in their OR in that, I had to always schedule around other surgeons. I am not employed by the hospital. And so their, I guess, loyalty is to their surgeons, rightfully so. And so it was kind of always, oh, you're going to take this day or this day. And I have noticed, yeah, I have doubled my surgical volume
Wow.
since opening my own practice, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what does your facility look like square footage wise? And, how many practice rooms do you have?
Yeah, so we went from 1,000 square feet. We are a little over 6,500, and it's kind of split into 2 different sides. We have one half we consider our surgical side, that's got our OR, our PACU slash recovery room and pre-op area, and all of that entails having an OR. And then we have our clinic side. On our clinic side, we have a separate laser room. We have a separate, we call it an aesthetic room, where we do facials, etc. And then we have 4 different exam rooms over there, and then offices.
Okay. Wow. That's impressive. And it's got to be a huge difference. Like you said, not having to travel to the hospital, work around their schedule. Like now
Yeah,
efficiency has to be up for sure.
yeah. Like I said, I've seen my surgical volume double, and I know clinic side, we're growing on that side too, just because we're able to accommodate way more people, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. So I've got to ask, when you were in med school and going through all that, did you know that you wanted to do your fellowship and then go straight to starting your own practice, or did that fellowship kind of encourage you, or when was that?
Yeah. So in med school, I had always envisioned myself becoming a neurologist. I really was fascinated by the brain, how it worked. And it wasn't until my 3rd year of med school. So in 3rd and 4th year, you are, thrown into hospitals and clinics, and you are rotating through all the different aspects of medicine, if you will. My very first rotation, my 3rd year, was general surgery. Um, and I had just a really incredible time there. I was paired with this old time general surgeon. He was about 70 years old at the time, and he trained in the era where general surgeons just did everything. So he did OB, he did general surgery, cosmetic surgery, urology, and he was really drawn to cosmetic surgery. And for some reason, he saw something in me, and really gave me the opportunity to work really just solely with him on a lot of his cases. And I really, really enjoyed the artistry of what he did. I think growing up, well, for me anyway, I had this preconceived notion that cosmetic surgery was all about this fake look, fake face, large breasts, and that was not my experience with him at all. It was really incredible to be able to just watch how people transformed and being able to take, you know, an insecurity that someone had and turn it into something that they were really confident about. And it was just a feeling that I did not get in any other area of medicine. And so after my month with him, I started to kind of look at, well, how do I get here? How do I do what he does? I really also liked the aspect of there was a problem and he could fix it. And I really enjoyed being able to do that. I enjoyed being able to work with my hands. And like I said, the whole artistry aspect of it, because it takes a little bit of art to, you know, learn when you can take fat from this area and how much you can take and not make it look all saggy and weird and all the contour irregularities. And so, yeah, I just started looking at how could I get there? And even at that point, I never thought I would own my own practice. It was, okay, I'm going to get done and I'm going to go join a group or I'm going to work for a hospital. And it really wasn't until fellowship where I kind of thought, okay, I have spent, you know, including residency, it had been 6 years always working on someone else's time and for someone else. And the thought of being able to control my own time, my own schedule, build a team how I wanted it to be built, was just very intriguing to me. And you know, Dr. Deal, Dr. Gardner at Southern Surgical Arts really provided I would say the tools for me, and the resources for me to kind of make that possible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And now it kind of a good segue. Do you have like a favorite procedure or like a specialty? I know you're kind of a full service as far as face
Yeah.
spa, also med spa, but what's your favorite personally?
I really, really like the mommy makeovers, and whatever that entails for women. That, you know, that means a lot of different things to a lot of different women. Um, I would say most consistently, it's a tummy tuck in our core lipo. Sometimes we add breast enhancement. Sometimes it's arms. Sometimes it's, you know, whatever else. The transformations are, I feel, just so exciting to watch. I've seen women come in, you know, we do preoperative photos, and even looking at their pre-surgical and their before, they're standing straighter, you know, they're standing with more confidence, they're talking with more confidence, and it's really cool to watch.
I've seen the before and afters on your website, and they're unbelievable. You know,
Thank you.
you've got to have more confidence. You know, it's
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
amazing transformations. Um, Now you've got, I mean, mainly all female staff, right? And
all female. Yeah.
and so that's got to be pretty empowering to have. I mean, well, let's talk about as far as male to female ratio of who
Yeah.
you're typically, you know, working with as patients. What does that look like? I mean, I imagine it's more female, right?
100%. I would say at our practice, about 95% of our clients are women. We are getting more males into I would say more of our surgical treatments versus some of the more med spa treatments. But by far and away, way more females, which is really, really cool to have an all female staff here. You know, I started medical school, again, ratio way more males to female. I finished med school in 2012 and I started residency in 2012. And I was the first female resident that they had in my program. And since then, there's been several other women that have done the residency. And it was very empowering to me to kind of prove to my male attendings that, yeah, we can do exactly what a guy can do, and sometimes if not better in some cases. You know, and we're just as dedicated, we're just as motivated. I think a lot of the time in my career, it was, well, you know, you're going to have kids and you're not going to work after you're done having kids, or you're going to get married and, you know, you're going to give this up and maybe be part-time. And that really was never a thought in my head. And my husband is one of my biggest cheerleaders. You know, he, when I was looking at opening my own practice, has been the person in my corner that has said, yeah, go for it. I think you have a lot to offer women. I think you have a lot to inspire women, even, you know, from staff and patients. And just, he kind of pushed me to do all this, which has been really awesome.
That's great. I imagine it's got to be more comfortable for your patients on the female side. Just
Yeah.
because you being female, you should understand their
Yeah.
body. And it's just
Yeah.
confidence inspiring.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what we hear in consults, like one in particular stands out. We had a young female just come in for a simple breast aug, and she was very flat chested. She had been to two other male surgeons prior, and she said after our consult, she broke down crying, and she said it was one of the best experiences she had with me. The two other men that she had saw, both had come into the rooms and made comments to their staff and to her husband. Well, this should be an easy one. It's like a male to female transition.
Wow.
And she was horrified.
Okay.
And hearing stories like that just blows my mind. You know, I really want to be able to empower women, you know, and all women are beautiful, and it's my job to enhance what they already have. Um, and I think for other people to kind of point out a woman's insecurities, I mean, that's infuriating to me.
Yeah.
And I know it's infuriating to patients. And I think being able, one, to recognize that, and maybe be a little bit more empathetic to that, and just hearing what they have to say, has maybe hopefully made it a little bit easier for my clients and patients to say, yeah, I want to work with her.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. I mean, having that sort of derogatory remarks to someone when it's kind of a position of vulnerability, like
Correct.
that's tough. That could be
Yeah.
someone very badly.
Yeah.
Um, so now on the business side, I mean, obviously starting practice, building new facility,
Yeah.
what have been some of the most challenging parts of doing this? What have been major roadblocks, or I mean, it seems like you've navigated those. How's that working so far?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest challenges for me um, is figuring out the right people to have in your corner. I don't know how to build an OR. I don't know how to design it. But figuring out, okay, who are the right people to help me to do that? And then, you know, I do not excel at budget planning. I do not excel, maybe not excel is not a great word. I'm just not excited about it. I'm more excited
Sure.
about operating.
Yeah.
But again, finding people that get excited about that to have in your corner that, help build your practice. I think that has been challenging for me to find the right people and the right fit. I think initially it was hey, you just gotta survive, you gotta make it. And
Right.
so I'll take anyone and I'll do anything. And now I can be a little bit more selective and choosy on who gets hired and who do I have in my corner. Um, and really pick the people that want to see me excel, this practice excel.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great idea. And it sounds simple to do, but it's very challenging. I feel like a lot of business owners have a problem with this. This is a big challenge for me personally. It's
Yeah,
getting that good team built around you that have core aligned values, and
correct.
super challenging.
Yeah, yeah.
Seems like it's gone well though for you. I mean, definitely
Yeah,
putting.
I mean, uh I've definitely learned, I would say this year more than other years, to be maybe a little bit more intentional with my time, my resources. I've definitely learned, you know, the hard thing that maybe not all good money is good money, in that like I've had some, investors where maybe it hasn't been the right fit, but because they're willing to, write a check and do this and do that, it seems like a really great opportunity, only to kind of maybe be kicked in the pants later on down the road. And so learning how to navigate that, I think has been a really good learning experience for me this year. And learning from those mistakes on, again, how do I move forward? How do I find the right people and the right fit who are, like you were saying, aligning with your values, your ethics, your goals, to move yourself forward.
Gotcha. Now it kind of just brought up another question in my mind, but as far as the practice has grown, and of course you add this med spa side to it, and you have the cosmetic procedures as well.
Yeah.
Do you ever, I mean, are there ever patients that aren't a good fit? Have you seen that morph at all, or is it kind of anyone? Or and I know this is kind
Yeah.
of maybe a sensitive subject, but is there anyone that's ever come in that maybe hasn't been a good fit? How do you navigate that?
Yeah. You know, yes. Again, it's the hard lessons that you learn where you look back and you're like, gosh, that took a lot of my resources as far as like my energy, my time, where maybe if I would have just said no to that client or no to that opportunity, it, you know, maybe I would have struggled a little bit in the initial part of like financially struggled.
Sure,
Uh, but I think in the long run, the long term, it would have been a lot better.
I understand that. Well, do you have anything, and this is another sensitive one, do you have anything you struggle with now? Like, what are your challenges going into 2024?
Yeah. So I think business wise, trying to figure out, innovative ways to one, keep the people that you have and convert them into other aspects of your business. There are plenty of different med spas here, both in Ames and then down in Des Moines. And it's how do we get someone from Des Moines to want to drive up here? How do we keep the people that we do have here? I find that as we grow, it makes it harder and harder to sometimes be um we have to be very diligent on paying attention to details with clients, and that how long are patients sitting in the reception area, are we working people in a timely fashion, are we greeting them with a hello, trying to keep the clients that we have. I also think like personally, so I am a new mom, trying to
Congratulations.
navigate how to be a mom and own a business, and like a good mom, a good business owner, a good leader, a good wife, and trying to navigate all of that, because all my mentors right now are men, and that's a challenge to me. So trying to figure out how to do it all without totally killing myself in the process. So
Right, right. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of hats, personal
yeah,
hats with
yeah,
newborn and work. And
yeah,
uh, I imagine it's got to be tough because you're, of course, the main practicing physician there, but also having to be the business owner as well and help
yeah,
manage that. That's
yeah.
a lot of hats to wear. Do you have any goals that stand out to you for 2024 that you can share with us?
Yeah, as I was saying, I think being very intentional with my time, my resources, and my energy is a huge one for me. I think another specific goal of mine is within 2023, we developed our women's platform, which helps women kind of with more, I would say, personal aspects of their life. And it's a platform that's specifically for vaginal rejuvenation and all of that I think a lot of women maybe aren't comfortable talking about and maybe don't know that they can talk about it. And so I would really love to see that area of our practice grow. We have a nurse practitioner here, Jamie Holland, who um, is her background. She was a OB/GYN nurse, and she's super passionate about women's health. And the clients that she has taken on have gotten a lot of confidence and gotten a lot of value out of her treatments. And I think just watching that aspect grow would be really awesome. And then, furthermore, watching Jamie Holland grow as a provider and getting more confidence in that aspect as well is a cool goal of mine.
That's great. What about, it's a little more abstract, but do you see any big changes coming in the aesthetic industry? I mean, whether it be because of economic times or maybe new procedures, I know new machinery is always coming out. You see anything change
Yeah.
on the horizon this year?
So I think I'm definitely noticing a trend of people doing more as far as like, how do I say this? Rather than like a big tummy tuck mommy makeover, trying to find a non-invasive way to maybe get similar results. And so we're seeing a lot of body contouring stuff come on the market, as far as like toning muscle, toning, tightening skin, and all of that. I think we're all busy. And so the whole idea of having 2 week downtime or 1 week downtime, that doesn't fit for everyone. And so having a tool that could maybe give you some of those results with very little downtime is very appealing to patients. I also see, people's disposable income has gone down. But I think, at least with us, we're not really seeing that translate into people spending less with us, which is awesome for us. I doubled my practice, like I said, last year, and we're kind of projected to do the same within 2024.
Wow.
And so I don't know if it's us in our marketing, and I don't know if it's us and how we carry ourselves here at our office. I don't know if it's the connections we've made, but we're not really seeing that downturn maybe as much as other areas are.
That's great to hear. It's really encouraging. I've heard kind of mixed reviews there from other leaders in the industry, other practice owners, and I think maybe some of the area has something to do with that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and
Sure.
it seems like Ames must have been a great choice, especially seeing there's lower competition there, and
yeah,
that's awesome. So it's actually one of the questions I had down is, do you feel like it's recession proof? I mean, as far as aesthetics go, like.
I don't think anything is recession proof. I think people, at least with what we're noticing, people are still doing these treatments, procedures. Botox, for example, they may not be spending as much as like they would on their previous treatments or had on their previous treatments. But I think people are still doing it. I think it's for people a way to still help themselves feel good about themselves, and give themselves confidence. And I think for a lot of people, sometimes you can't put a price on that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, I know you have like you mentioned, the cosmetic procedure side and the med spa side. What would age range be for each one of those? You have an idea of like a feel of what that's like?
Yeah, I think surgical wise, I by far and away am seeing people I would say early 30s to maybe late 40s for our bigger mommy makeovers procedures, breast augmentations, and all of that. I would say by far and away that's the majority of my practice surgery wise. We get people in the age ranges of late 50s to 70s for our facelifts. Although I've been really shocked, I've had people in their 80s do a tummy tuck or breast aug. I would say that's maybe not the majority. On the clinic side or our med spa side, that is a huge range. We see college students here as young as 19, 20, all the way up to people in their 70s, getting their fillers and their Botox, their facials, their lasers, their light treatment. So I think clinic side, there's a much broader range of patients.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you what's like the leading procedures on the med spa clinic side?
By far and away, neurotoxin. Neurotoxin is a huge, I would say, huge treatment that we have here. Our diamond glow facials are also huge. And some of our bigger laser procedures are also our more common treatments here.
Gotcha. I know we mentioned actually chatting earlier this week that there's kind of a challenge, like you want to keep a strong brand versus
Correct.
you see a lot of med spas that are small offices that offer Botox for $8, $9, $10 a
Yeah,
unit. Um, what are your kind of thoughts there on that? Because if you offer too many discounts, and it can maybe devalue the brand a little bit and
correct. Yeah.
get in that unloyal customer. But
Yeah. I think one of the hardest things for me to learn was like, what is my value? And I want to be the area's leading cosmetic surgeon, med spa. And I didn't want to do that by doing the little Groupon things. I think what we see when we do that, or when I have maybe done that in the past, is that we get a client for a, a day, a treatment, and then they're gone. And then when we run the special again, that's when we see them come back. I really enjoy making the connections with our clients. And I think so much of what we do is having that rapport with our clients, and that's what keeps them coming back. And you know setting ourselves apart as, hey, we are the best of the best here. And yeah, we may cost a little bit more, but the value that I know my nurse injector brings is hands down, yeah, one of the better experiences that people have. I know she's talented at what she does, and who she injects, and her treatment recommendations. So yeah,
and it's got to be, have value the fact that they could grow at your facility in some ways, like that
yeah,
they come in for neurotoxins, and then as they want to go into these more aggressive procedures later on after kids, that sort of thing, they have opportunity to really grow with your
yeah,
practice.
yeah. It's been awesome to work with Jamie, in that she'll maybe see a client first, and then she'll pull me aside in the hallway one day and be like, hey, she's really, I think, ready to talk to you. Or, hey, I've exhausted everything that I can do, and I don't know how much more I can offer her. I think that's really unique about our clinic, in that we're not just a med spa, or we're not just cosmetic surgery. We have both. And you know both Jamie and I working together to hype each other up, talk each other up, and get people kind of moving back and forth between our schedule, has been really, I would say, unique aspect of what we do here.
So I know you mentioned earlier about 95% female versus
Yeah,
5% male right now. We've kind of had this Zoom change since COVID, right? Like the Zoom has changed the mentality. I'm on five and a half Zoom calls average a day now. And so I have to see
yeah,
myself all the time. And I turned 39 this April, actually, first time ever last month, got neurotoxins,
yeah,
got
awesome.
Botox. And, something about seeing myself in the Zoom, now I'm more aware of like all these things that I need to
Yeah,
change. As a guy, especially in the South, like I don't really want to advertise that, right? And tell
yeah.
people, I think there's some like, negative connotation associated with male treatment. But have you seen that increase? Do you think that's going to increase as time goes by?
I would say med spa side, we're seeing more males dabbling in exactly what you are talking about. I think the Zoom and work from home has been awesome for our practice, in that we have a lot of men that are coming in, that are seeing themselves and kind of seeing what they do look like. I know Jamie has gotten way more men to do neurotoxin. On the surgical side, I've had way more men come for like neck treatments, facelifts. We have a guy that came in because he saw himself in his daughter's wedding pictures, and he has another daughter that is getting married in like a year, and he doesn't want to look like that in his photos or her photos. And so, yeah, we're seeing way more men come in. I think because they're becoming more aware, and I think it's becoming maybe more acceptable to do some of those treatments. I definitely notice, as far as getting pictures from men for my before and afters, way less likely to say, yeah, you can use my before and afters.
Right.
I've had a few that have been really gung-ho about being on the website or being on the social media.
Right. Right. It's funny bringing up the the neck area under the chin. Like my girlfriend and I both started recently doing those neck exercises to try and tighten that
Yeah.
area up. Cause like it's like one day I wake up and it's like, holy hell, where did this come from?
Where did that come from? Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if they're doing anything, but every day I make a lot of weird faces in the mirror and I hope that it does
That
something.
helps, man.
So every time that we talk, your skin looks perfect. So I gotta ask, do you have like a skincare routine that you do
Uh,
yourself or?
yeah. So I love my vitamin C. I have to use that every morning. That is a great antioxidant, helps my skin from aging. And then one of my other favorite products is TNS. And then I use sunscreen religiously. And then, I mean, I like to treat myself to a treatment every once in a while. So I'll get a laser every year, microneedle my face. Our esthetician does phenomenal facials. So I like to treat myself to that once a quarter. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, I've got some things to work up to there then.
Yeah.
So this is kind of an open-ended question, but any advice to maybe up-and-coming surgeons who are looking to start their own practice, or maybe they're going into fellowship, looking to come out of that and decide what direction to take? Any advice to give them?
Yeah. I would just say, if you're hearing no, you're talking to the wrong person. If you are really passionate about it and really excited about it, like, you can make it happen.
All right, that's good to hear. Well, I think that answered all the questions I had. I mean, anything else that we should know about your practice, or I mean,
No, I just have to put a little plug in for us. I enjoy my entire team. I think I work with, there's now 11 on my staff, 12 including me, 11 of the most amazing, inspiring women that challenge me in the best of ways, humble me in the best of ways. And yeah, I just enjoy what I do. And it's because of them.
that's great. In case anyone's watching or listening, check out sturmcosmetic.com is your website and see all the amazing
Yeah.
before and afters, and got some great photos of you on there as well. I love that opening photo on the homepage in the
Yeah.
chair. Shows a
Yeah.
lot of personality.
Yeah. Love that one.
Well, Dr. Sturm, thanks for being on this podcast, call, video, whatever we want to call it. Really appreciate your
Yeah.
time. It's been great
Yeah.
learning more about you in the practice.
I thank you for having me. It's been really great chatting with you.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a great weekend and keep up the great work up there. And don't get too cold. Don't.
No, we have our big anniversary party tonight, so I'm gonna put all the good vibes out tonight. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, congrats on that and happy anniversary to the business.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You have a good day.
Thank you. You too. See you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.